All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking a deep dive into the absolute heart of robotics. It's a massive, incredibly complex field, but honestly, it all boils down to one fundamental challenge. How do we build a machine that can actually move and interact with the physical world? To understand what truly makes a robot tick, we're going to send a hypothetical robot, let's go ahead and call him John Greenbot, on a seemingly simple mission, fetching a snack from the kitchen. It sounds like a basic, everyday chore, but as we trace this journey, we're going to uncover the unbelievably sophisticated technology required to make it happen.
Okay, let's dive into this, because there's a really fascinating paradox in artificial intelligence. Crunching millions of mathematical computations in a single second? That is practically effortless for a computer. But making sense of a chaotic environment, taking a single step, or just grabbing a snack without completely crushing it, things that are literally second nature to us are monstrously difficult for a machine. Just describing all the tiny joint movements and sensory inputs required just to walk across a room is a massive, massive hurdle in robotics.
So to understand how our robot pulls off this snack heist, we're going to break robotics down into 3 core pillars. First up, localization. Then, planning. Third, manipulation. And finally, we'll wrap things up by looking at testing and the future.
All right, let's get into Pillar 1, localization. Essentially, figuring out where we are. Because, think about it, before a robot can fetch anything, it fundamentally needs to know its exact position within its environment. We humans handle this kind of task all the time without even thinking about it. Imagine walking into a brand new shopping mall, right? And you're looking for a specific shoe store. What do you instinctively do? Well, you look around. You check out the walls, the escalators, the shops, the doors, and you start building this mental map. And as you walk, you're continuously tracking how you got to where you're standing, dynamically updating that map in your head. For a robot, building this mental map is the absolute mandatory first step before it can move even an inch toward our snack.
And this brilliantly illustrates a core robotics concept known as SLAM, that stands for simultaneous localization and mapping. Basically, as a robot explores an environment, it isn't just passively looking around. It's simultaneously tracking its current mathematical position while actively updating its mental map with every single new object it encounters. And since the real world is messy, a chair gets moved, a door closes, this mapping process has to happen continuously. It's this continuous, highly complex feedback loop of seeing, placing oneself, and mapping.
Now, we humans use our 2 eyes for depth perception to build our maps, but robots rely on some pretty sophisticated sensors to pull off this SLAM process. A lot of them use RGB cameras to gather color images, sometimes even mimicking our stereoscopic depth. But they can also see in ways that we literally cannot. Take infrared depth cameras, kind of like what you'd see in a video game motion sensor. They shoot out invisible light and measure exactly how long it takes to bounce back. And then for heavy-duty mapping, like what you see in self-driving cars, they use LiDAR. LiDAR fires off over 100,000 laser pulses every single second. It measures that bounce back to generate an incredibly accurate 3D map of flat surfaces and objects, like street lamps or mailboxes.
Moving right along to Pillar 2, planning, deciding how to get there.
Let's see how this builds. Now that our robot knows exactly where it is, it has to map out the actual route. In robotics, planning happens when an AI strings together a sequence of events to hit a goal. It does this by evaluating actions, but here's the catch. Every action has a precondition and an effect. Let's say there is a door between our robot and the kitchen. The AI recognizes a precondition. The door is currently closed. It then plans an action. Open the door. Finally, it calculates the effect. The door will be open and the path to the kitchen is clear. The robot has to instantly search through countless possible sequences of these preconditions and effects just to reason out the most efficient route. Which brings us to Pillar 3, manipulation, doing the actual physical work.
So our robot has navigated to the kitchen. Awesome! But now for the physical work. It has to pick up our snack. Actually, let's try a quick experiment together. Wherever you are right now, close your eyes, stretch your arms out wide, and try to bring your index fingers together to touch perfectly in front of you. Go ahead, really, try it. I bet you are incredibly close, if not perfectly dead on, despite not being able to see. It is amazing how easily adult humans can manipulate their limbs, especially when you compare us to babies, who are, let's face it, incredibly clumsy as they are just starting to learn these movements.
So, the crucial point here is why you could do that. It's thanks to a biological trait called proprioception. Basically, that's our body's inherent sense of where it is in space and how it's moving, powered seamlessly by our nervous system and muscles. But robots don't have a nervous system, right? Most robots just have mechanical motors. Because of that, they require highly calibrated sensors to constantly calculate if their machine parts are moving, what direction they're moving in, and exactly how quickly.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how they control these precise movements. Robots rely on what we call closed-loop control. This is control with constant feedback. Think of picking up a heavy box. If it's heavier than expected, you feel it pull on your skin, so you instinctively tighten your grip. You're perceiving and you're adjusting. That's a closed loop. The exact opposite is open-loop control, which is control without feedback. That would be like closing your eyes and trying to touch your finger to someone else's finger. You can't see them, you can't feel their muscles, so you just blindly execute the action with zero feedback. If our robot used open-loop control, it would literally just crush our snack into powder.
But when a robot is programmed with a highly sensitive closed feedback loop, bridging its visual sensors and its mechanical grip, the hardware can perform some unbelievably delicate manipulation. Engineers have actually programmed robots to do things as precise as gently twisting apart an Oreo cookie and carefully scraping off the cream. No way, right? So equipped with these sensors, our robot can finally pick up our requested snack smoothly, securely, and without turning it into crumbs.
Finally, Section 4, Testing and the Future, moving beyond the test space.
All right, so we've successfully fetched the snack in theory, but here is the reality check. While we have amazing rovers like Curiosity that spent 7 years driving on Mars, and sure, Roomba's vacuuming our living rooms, we are still a really long way off from a multi-purpose household robot that casually brings us a spoon on demand. Because the physical world is so unpredictable, we can't just let robots figure things out in our living spaces or out on real roads. A massive amount of work has to happen in controlled test spaces first. AIs for self-driving cars and physical robots practice relentlessly in physical warehouses or even entirely virtual mazes, running thousands and thousands of simulations. Interestingly, some of these virtual test spaces are actually based on video games. All of this rigorous simulation ensures that a flawed system learns from its mistakes digitally, completely preventing it from accidentally hurting humans in reality.
It is honestly thrilling to realize that robotics essentially brings together every single area of AI and jams it into one moving physical machine. But it leaves us with a really fascinating challenge as we look to the future. Beyond just mapping a room and grabbing an object, there's a whole field of human-robot interaction to consider. Think about it. Before robots can seamlessly share our homes and hand us our snacks, how do we reliably train them to understand our spoken language commands, read our body language, and just safely interact with us on a daily basis? It is the next great frontier, and one that makes the future of robotics absolutely captivating. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning the world around you.